Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 168th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. The team I'm in today consists of Brotherhood member Flankme, who has bought the Rome SBQR faction. And then we have Brotherhood member Sacred. He's called himself Free France, but it is actually Brotherhood member Sacred, and he has bought the Macedon faction. And then we have myself, Spartan Commander, who has bought the Rome SBQR faction. Just to say that both Sacred and myself have been playing Rome Total War since it first came out, and Flankme has been playing a while too, so we've got a bit of experience on our team. Should be a good one for you to watch. At this stage of the battle, I thought we'd have a look at Brotherhood member Sacred's Macedon army here. As you can see, I think he's got 15 pikes and 5 Cretan archer units. If you notice, he has got no cavalry in this particular army, so it'll be interesting to see if the number of pikes and the Cretan archers will make up for the no cavalry in this army. As you can see there, the Cretan archers have got long range and can do a lot of damage, and that looks a pretty good army to me. Should be interesting to see how well it does against the opposition. Should be a good one for you to watch. And here is the other team. We have Heaven's Biscuits, who has bought the Greek Cities faction. And then we have IOW EsraX, who has bought the Rome Scipio faction. And then their third teammate is the vastly Rome Total War experienced player Wolves Xarga. Wolves has been playing RTW for years now and is a very experienced player, so it's a lot of experience there in their team. And there we have somebody who's spectating the battle, and it is Scorpion King SR. He's called himself Hero in this game, but it is actually Scorpion King SR, and he's a spectator in the battle. I just thought at this stage of the battle we'd have a look at Biscuits' Greek Cities army here. I think he's got 12 Spartan units and 4 hoplites there, the armoured hoplites, and of course he's got the famous Greek Cretan archers there with their long range and can do a lot of damage. So there's Biscuits' army. There's a close-up of the Cretan archers there. As I said before, they've got long distance and they do a lot of damage there with their arrows. So that Greek Cities army looks quite formidable. It should be interesting to see how well it does in the battle. At this very early stage of the battle here, you can see our teammate Sacred moving out to the right flank with his Macedon army. Sacred's got a reputation of being an aggressive player here, so his attacking movement there out to the right does not surprise me. And I think he would like the Greek cities to maybe attack him there. That's why he's moving forward in a very provocative way. I think he'd like them to move forward onto his long pikes there. If you notice, the Greek cities ally has bought some Rome Scipio units around the back of his army there, obviously with a view to throw loads of pilers into our teammates' Macedon battle line there. If you notice, Biscuits has split his army here. This is a tactic that he very often uses and can be very effective. Just going to pause the game here for us to take stock of the very early part of this battle. What's actually happening at the moment, there's a big archer battle going on between our Macedon allies Cretan archers and the Greek cities Cretan archers there. So they're actually trying to kill each other as fast as they can, so whichever side wins with the archer battle, they can then concentrate their arrows on other enemy units. So there you can see the Macedon army there facing the Greek cities, and if you notice, our Macedon ally has split his army up as well, probably to counter the Greek cities generals splitting of his army as well. Meanwhile, over on our left flank here, you can see not a lot going on at the moment, but as I say, this is a very early stage of the battle here. So there's a general overview of kind of a sizing up each other before the action actually starts there. As I say, you can see our Macedon ally there, Sacred, moving some of his pike units out to try and counter the Greek city's general, who's, as I said before, has split his army. Now if you notice here, can you see that Biscuits is running half of his Greek city's army over to his Brutii teammate there. Now he's used this tactic before, and what he wants to do, he wants to use his Greek city's half of his army there with his Brutii army to attack our ally on the left. You see our SBQ ally there on the left. What Biscuits would like to do here with his Brutii ally is to be able to attack our ally there, so that our ally would be facing Greek city pikemen as well as the Brutii army. Just going to pause the game here for us to take stock of the situation. Right, so as you can see here, Biscuits has moved half of his Greek city's army, Spartan units, up with his Brutii ally. As I say, it's a tactic he often uses, and with his Brutii ally and his Spartans there, they would like to advance into our ally there. And of course, facing Spartans and Roman forces, they would hope that they would break our left flank with that group of enemy troops there. But I think our ally is quite aware of that, and if you notice, he's backed off a little bit. He's not going to be suckered into that particular battle fighting Greek cities and Rome. If you notice though that the Greek cities faction's so good that he's left an army down here backed up with his by his Scipii ally there with units there as well. So this is a versatility of the Greek cities. They're so good you can leave half of them one way and they'll still hold for ages, where you can move another half off to attack. Especially the defensive army down this end, backed up by his allies there, is still a formidable force there. You can see a lot of fire arrows being fired in from both sides there. And this is just a general overview of what's happening so far. As I said, our ally hero on the left flank has moved back quite a bit because obviously you could see what Biscuits was trying to do with his Brutii ally there, and wisely our ally pulled back there as he didn't really want to get involved with that. If you notice here, he's got his archers firing into the flank of the Brutii infantry as it moves forward. Now it wouldn't surprise me if Biscuits moved this half of his Spartan army down to the centre of his allies there, so that he can have half of it, this attacking part of his army in the middle of his allies there, so he can attack on either side if he wishes. Right, as you can see here, he's now moving his Greek city's attacking part of his army down to the centre there, probably with a view to attack my army with his Scipii ally there. But of course, because we're aware of this tactic, you'll probably notice that my army will probably back off, as I don't really want to face a Greek city's attacking army as well as Scipii. So I'm going to move my army back, and if you notice, I move my army back towards my Macedon pike ally there. So if they want to attack, then they'll face my Macedon pike ally as well. This is what I'm just pausing the game here for us to take stock of exactly what's happening. As I say, Biscuits' tactic there was to move that attacking part of his Greek city's army there to bring his Scipii ally and himself to attack my army. But I've moved back to my Macedon pike ally there, so if they do attack, then my Macedon pike ally will move his pike units forward, and that will neutralise the attacking Spartans there. Meanwhile, over on our right flank here, as I said, Sacred is got a reputation for being an attacking player. You've noticed he's moved forward there with his pikes. There's a general overview of exactly what's happening there. If you notice that Biscuits moved his attacking part of his army over to the right flank again, over to his right flank, our left flank obviously there, to attack our ally on the left there. But if you notice, our Macedon ally Sacred is now taking some pike units over there to try and neutralise the Spartan units there. Nice bit of teamwork here by Sacred with his Macedon units. Meanwhile, over on our left flank there, you can see our allies SBQR cavalry and the enemy Brutii cavalry have now locked horns on this far left flank, and as you can see, we're both trying to send reinforcements. Both our ally and the enemy troops are trying to send over reinforcements to that cavalry battle over on the our left flank there. If you notice, the enemy Brutii infantry are now advancing into the Macedon reinforcements that have come over, plus into our allies' SBQR units as well. If you notice there, I think the Greek city's general has just been killed. Now the Spartans' morale is excellent, but obviously if their general's killed, it will lower their morale a little bit. But it doesn't affect them as much as it does any other unit in the game, because their morale is excellent there. If you notice, can you see the enemy Scipii cavalry moving over now to the left, ready to charge in? I think there's 6 units of cavalry charge, and bang, as they hit into our SBQR ally there. Let's just pause the game for a second to take stock of exactly what's happened here. Over on our left flank, you can see that we've got Scipii cavalry attacking, Brutii cavalry attacking. We've got enemy Brutii infantry and the Greek cities Spartans attacking on our left flank here. Our Macedon allies sent over some Macedon pikemen there to try and help out on the left flank. Meanwhile, over here, can you see I was in the centre, and I've spotted something here. I've spotted that if I can get in between the enemy Brutii army and its allies there, the Scipii and the Greek cities, with my SBQR army, maybe then I could split them up and isolate the Brutii army there, and my allies might be able to deal a final blow to that Brutii army there, if I can get in between. If you notice, Macedon allies running over there as well with his pikemen. Let's see what actually happens here. Right, if you notice, I'm running my SBQR army over. I've spotted that we could isolate the enemy Brutii army there on our left if we can, if I can get my army in between him and his allies. So if you notice, I put my SBQR army in between the enemy Brutii, the green enemy Brutii, and his Scipii allies and his Greek city allies here. And I'm just hoping that my allies will attack that Brutii army quickly. And I just hope that my army will be able to hold. I'm going to attract a lot of attacking tactics from the enemy here. Right, can you see I'm charging in my SBQR cavalry here with a view to smash through that enemy Brutii line and maybe come out behind my infantry, if I could. That's 6 units of cavalry charge bonus have just charged in there. If you notice, I've managed to get some of my cavalry through the enemy lines there. I wanted to weaken that Brutii. Let's just pause the game for a second. I wanted to weaken that Brutii army, so allowing my allies, maybe making it even easier for my allies to try and take that Brutii army out. If you notice, I've become a blocking force there from the enemy Scipii and the Greek cities there to get through to their allies. So I'm just hoping, as I say, that my allies will attack quickly and we'll be able to maybe finish off that Brutii army before his allies can break through my lines. My army, my infantry have got several units have got stripes on, so I'm hoping that's going to enable them to hold a bit longer than if they were just gold. But as you can see, there's a lot of enemy forces ranging against me now. I think the best thing for me to do is put my first couple of battle lines into Testudo to try and slow down and stop those Greek city Spartans pushing too far into my ranks there. If you notice, I've got Brutii infantry coming in behind me as well, but I just want to hold here as long as I can, with the thought that my allies are going to take out that isolated Brutii army that's behind me. Right, if you notice, there's the other half, if you like, the attacking half of the Greek city's army coming in behind me as well. I think my tactic here was to actually try and get as many of the enemy troops as I could to come in on me there. Right, I've paused the game here, so what I've done here, as I say, I'm trying to attract as many enemy troops as I can onto me, which will hopefully allow my allies to take out that Brutii army that was behind me and then come over to help me, hopefully before my arm is broken. But as you can see, there's a lot of enemy troops attacking my my army there, and as I say, I've got a lot of stripes on my infantry. Well, I've got stripes on several units of my infantry, so I'm just playing having a bit of a gamble here that they're going to hold long enough to let my Allies take out as many of the enemy Brutii army as possible there. There's a general overview of the battle. Right, if you've noticed here, if you notice at the top of the picture here, you can see I've moved my cavalry out to the right top. Now if you can just see where I'm going to aim to hit there, I'm coming in fast and I'm looking at the flank of the enemy Brutii infantry here that are engaged. Right, can you see my SBQR cavalry coming in there? And bang! As I'm going through, right, I've routed the Brutii enemy general there as my cavalry comes in. I'm looking to take out that line of Brutii engaged infantry there. Can you see how my cavalry is charged in there and taken out that line of engaged Brutii infantry? Now, what I'm hoping is, the reason I've done that is I'm hoping now that's going to free up my allies' units to come in and help me out now, because as you can see, I'm in a pretty bad position. I think my general's just routed, and a lot of my units there have just routed as well. So I'm just hoping that my allies can come in quick now and give me a hand there. As I say, I think if I just had gold upgrades on my infantry, they would have all routed by now. So new players watching this, sometimes putting an experienced stripe on your troops really can help. Right, can you see me sending in my SBQR cavalry in again, with a view to charging into the back of those engaged Brutii infantry there. Sorry, the Scipii infantry. You see how I did that? Charged in, got the full cavalry charge bonus, pulled back out again with a view to rally and charge back in once again to get the full cavalry charge bonus there. If you notice, the enemy general, Scipii general, is moving his infantry out to try and neutralise my cavalry charge there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to charge my cavalry through that first unit that he sent out and aim for the second unit behind him. Hopefully causing massive casualties in that first unit and even trying to make it rout if I can. And there you go, see that first unit there has now routed as I've charged my cavalry through that unit and aimed at the unit behind him. New players watching this, that's a useful tactic to use with your cavalry. Meanwhile, back to the infantry battle there, you can see there's a heck of a lot of Greek city units, Spartan units left. Let's just pause the game for a second to take stock of exactly what's happening there. You see I've moved my cavalry out now because the enemy are bringing Spartan units over to try and neutralise my cavalry there. So I'm pulling them out with a view to move round to a different position where I can hit the enemy. As you can see, there's a lot of enemy Scipii infantry left. And there's still some of the enemy Brutii infantry left as well. But the main threat to us, I think, would be the Spartan units over here. There's still a lot of Spartan units left there. And as you know, with their 2 hit points, they're incredibly difficult to kill. And they can be battle-turning troops. So I think that's where the enemy has got the advantage there with that many Spartan units left. And there's Spartan units all over the battlefield if you look. So it's all still up in the air at the moment and all still in the balance. I can't believe my infantry, some of my infantry units are still alive and still fighting even after that massive attack by the enemy troops. But I can guarantee that the units that I've got left are the ones with stripes on. As I said before, I can't emphasise enough how much stripes make a real difference to infantry, both fighting and defending and holding. That experienced stripe really makes it. Well, I'm just going to pause the game here because I'm going to show you an overall view of the battle, and then I'm going to ask you a tactical cavalry question. So if you just look at the main battle area here, you can see there's a lot of enemy Scipii infantry left, and you can see there's some enemy Brutii infantry left, and obviously there's still a lot of Spartan units left. Okay, so I'm just giving you an overview picture there of the battle as it is at the moment. Okay, so you can see exactly what's happening there. But can you see my cavalry out to the right, my SBQR cavalry? Now if you were in charge of my cavalry there, where do you think you would use them best here? Do you think you might take them I don't know, round the flank of the battle and get in behind the enemy? Would you charge the cavalry here into the flank or rear of that engaged Scipii infantry? Looking at that general battle overview there, where do you think you'd use the cavalry best if you were me? Interesting. Where do you think you would put your cavalry in for the best advantage there? Let's have a look and see. Alright, can you see my SBQR cavalry charging in right now? I've spotted that the Scipii enemy general's in Testudo, but he's got his back to me, so I'm going to smash in with my cavalry, hopefully to try and kill that Scipii general. Right, I've just killed the Scipii general. Now, as you know from other battle videos now, all his troops' morale will now drop because the general's dead. Also with that charge, did you notice that I've also routed some Brutii infantry units that are there as well? So that cavalry charge there worked out quite well. I've got extremely battle damaged cavalry, but there was enough there to do what I wanted there. So we've killed the enemy Scipii general and routed a lot of the Brutii infantry there. So even though those cavalry were battle damaged, they did what they needed to do there. But if you look, there's still a lot of Spartan units left. If you notice, a couple more of my SBQR infantry have routed, and there's still quite a lot of the enemy Scipii infantry left as well. So this game is still really in the air and could go either way. If you notice here, I'm charging my Scipii cavalry into this, my SBQR cavalry into the Scipii unit here.
Have lost their leader.
Bang, as that cavalry hits. Remember that the morale of the Scipii infantry will be low now because their general's killed and most of their units are battle damaged. So just a little hit, even with battle damaged cavalry, could cause them to rout. That's what I'm hoping anyway. And if you notice there, a lot of the battle damaged Scipii infantry is just routed there, even though they were hit by very battle damaged cavalry. Okay, can you see the last of the Spartan units have just routed because their general were killed and most of their allies were killed there. Their morale dropped so low that with the enemy, with our units around them, their morale just dropped and they've routed there. Right, there's a general overview of the battle. You can see how intense this 3v3 battle is by the dead. Very often on a battlefield, there's like one area where the most intense fighting is starting and where most of the dead are. But if you look all over this battle, for a 3v3 battle, there is certainly some massive piles of dead all over the battlefield. That just goes to show how this battle was spread out. And as I said, bearing in mind it's a 3v3, it's quite amazing really on how intense the battle was all over the battlefield, if you like. There's still a couple of, I think, enemy Scipii infantry left. But it looks like, although it was extremely close, it looks like our team maybe has gone on to win this. As you see there, you can see that, as I said, there's a few enemy Scipii infantry units that are left. And we just got to just finish those off if we can now. But looking at what troops we've got left, I mean, we've hardly got any troops left ourselves, and the troops that we've got left are extremely battle damaged. That will show you how close the battle really was. As I say, it could have gone either way there. And I think that's the last enemy generals just admitted defeat there. If you notice that Scorpion King's Thrace army there, as he was spectating the battle, was just watching it. I remember he said he thought it was a great battle. Just like to say, really well played to everybody in the game. I thought the enemy team played extremely well. I think good aggressive moves by the enemy team at the beginning of the battle really showed their intent to take the battle to us. So really well done to them. I'd really like to say really well done to Flankme, who could see the danger of that attacking Spartan army with his Brutii ally there. We're going to attack on the left flank, so I think Flankme did very well in pulling back, not being suckered into that type of fight, which I think Biscuits has done so many times before when he splits his army. It's usually a good tactic, but we managed to counter it in this battle. So once again, really well played to everybody in the game. Good kills on the enemy team there, and as you can see how close this battle really was. Spartan Commanders, and hope you enjoyed it. Bye for now.